I had the work to show. I didn't ask for it. Yeah. They said, come and do it. In fact, I turned it down. Yeah. I said, I don't think I was ready. Yeah. Because, I mean, it's always been made to look like this thing that only certain people can do, right?
Yeah.
Only certain people can do.
And you put
in fact, only men can be the lead. Yeah, a breakfast show. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. I mean, I saw on order there was a lot of patriarchy in radio.
Yeah.
But
so for what it's worth, though, Scar, for what it's worth, and I go back to the rungs of a ladder, that I'm talking about, overlooked or not, politics or not, whatever the case may have been, it was valuable. Because it helped build, go from here to there, so that by the time you actually do what you need to do, then you're doing it perfectly.
So as a proud Gabz girl, do you still share these sentiments?
As a proud Gabz woman? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, ngana tropo.
Yeah. That's exactly what it was.
What did it entail back in the day? Because all I remember, her curl. There was a lot of.
I mean, there was a lot of. No, we didn't have the ers.
Your Berber's so curt.
Yeah.
Oh, your baby's so cute.
Your Berber's so curt.
Your Berber's so curt. Yes.
Oh, Scar's really horrible. I actually told him the story about
your Berber's so curt. Everyone had an R in
everything. Yeah, it did have a negative connotation, to be known as a Gabz girl. But for me, the truth of the matter is we were people that were born and bred in Gaborone. We must be proud of it. It doesn't take away who we are in terms of heritage, type of thing. It doesn't mean that because I was born and raised in Gaborone and I identify with the city, that I've lost who I am as a Motswana woman or as a Motswana girl, so.
Most deaf.
Of different identities. Podcast with PODI-CAST.
Hello. What's popping, everybody? What's going on? Welcome to another edition of the PODI-CAST, coming at you from Leo's Inn, right here, Kaku Middle Star. Yeah, remodi sababonyano re dule go mo goditsane re ntse re gagabela moshate wa bona re checkinyana. We here. Anyhow, you can always check us out every single Wednesday. Just get onto the Local Corner Multimedia YouTube page. That's where you see every single episode of the PODI-CAST. And a brand new year, a brand new bunch of guests that we're going to be hanging out with. Today is no different. It's someone that we're really, really excited to have in the house. Every single time we have someone like this in the house, it either goes two ways. I end up talking too much and a little bit. People then blast me in the comments. I apologize in advance. I'm just saying, she's good people. And just to go through some of the things that she's done, she's known as a seasoned and accomplished communications executive. She draws on best practices, strategies, and interventions. I think this is your life outside of what other people mostly know you of, radio, because she has experience in the media industry as an established radio presenter, television host, magazine editor, voiceover artist, and also as an event host. She has years of experience influencing social change amongst youth, as well as tackling social ills by being a voice of reason. Talking about voices, she's also on King. The Mascom number you have called is not available at the moment. That's her voice. Just to, giving you more clues. There's so many things that she's done. We're going to go through so many of them. She's also been in the private sector as a head of corporate affairs and brand marketing at Standard Chartered Botswana, and also public relations officer, manager. at Orange, Botswana. It's a lot here. And she's also a wife and a mother of 3 in the house. We're joined by Tumie Ramsden. Hi, Mama.
Hello, buddy.
How are you? How are you doing?
I'm good, Skazizo. How are you doing?
It's good to see you. You
Great.
look good.
Thank you so very much. You look good
the
too.
style, what's going on here? You went festive and you never came back.
No, interestingly, I did this before festive, right? And made it a point to take it out during festive. Because I'm just like, everywhere you go, I'll go and I'm chujinak and I'll go guy. I want to go all kind of rocking the same thing. So I thought, nah, let me just get back to natural. Then I went back to work, all black and it's nice. And then I was on leave last week. And then I decided, okay, let me just get a styling and hairstylist thinking I can bond with the black, right?
Yeah.
So I get home. In fact, I went to pick up my youngest son, who is now 11, and he says, "Oh my goodness, what have you done? You look like a boy, Mama." Like, what's going on? So I'm just like, listen, dude. I mean, already I wasn't too sure about it, even as I left the hair salon, right? So I'm just like, okay, guy, dude, this is not what I needed right now.
The guy ended you.
The guy, and I get home and my daughter, I think, is like, yeah, Mama, it's nice, but maybe you should do that wig thing where they do the frontal. She was now saying all these things about wigs. She's never asked me to wear a wig before.
Yeah.
So I wait. Excuse me. Yeah. So I wait for now the dad's comments. I don't even think he noticed. The next day, okay, we're style it at 14 or something along those lines. I was like, okay, this is not right. So then I text my hairdresser. I'm like, dude, I'm coming back so I can just get back to my normal,
your
style.
So
the following day now, actually the same day in the evening, when my husband sees me, now that's your style.
That's what we're talking about.
I'm like, but wait, you didn't actually say this to me when you saw me yesterday. But you didn't tell me how bad I looked. Yeah.
But they know how to work you. Because at least everyone had that little say. They just know how to nudge you in the right direction.
But why couldn't they just be honest?
No, how are you going to take it if people are like brutally honest?
In fact, that's exactly what I needed because I got in there unsure myself already. You know, my middle boy, he's just the one who said, "Listen, it's actually nice, Mama," but I'm not sure if he actually meant it. I think he was just being sweet.
And I believe we can get into that immediately. Having 3 kids and having a middle child, from watching all of these TV series, how are the characters within your household? Because when you were younger, you were more outspoken. For you to be on radio as a young person, or you were really, really outspoken. So who do you see yourself in when you look at your 3 kids?
Right, I see myself in. Actually, I see myself in all of them. Obviously, I'm going to answer like that.
But who's
no. I see myself in Lorato, right? Although he's the calmer one, but it's aspects of him, right? That I kind of pick out. The fact that he is extremely intelligent, right, and doesn't work as hard as he has to because he knows he can get the stuff done anyway. I mean, I don't want to call him lazy, but you need to push him. You need to get stuff done. Kese, on the other hand, is extremely organized. And you know me. I don't think you'd ever put me in as organized, right?
Now you are. You really are. I think when I look at you from a distance right now, I think you have it all together. When we're working together, you were always frazzled. Like, but now, you have it all together. So
I like that that's what you think of me, that now I have it all together. So you used to think I was frazzled. Is that what you thought of me?
No. To me, that came into the studio, to this building, Kantele. You can ask any of these guys, even before we shot this thing. Is it okay? Am I all right? All of that. But also, I think that's part of your process of organizing. So you don't want to leave anything to chance. So maybe everyone has their own method.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
maybe that's how she does hers.
Hers is like it's very structured, very much like her father. I'm not that structured, right? And the little one is just a ball of fun, right? So as I say, I see myself in all of them. You're talking about how what it's like to kind of raise the different characters that way, you know, and the fact that there is a middle child. Yay, but about Gaele, ha, rinse, like if we're all in the lounge, because the elder one likes to. She's always asking for something. She's always clear about what she wants. She's always pushing us for what she wants, right? The little one seems to have taken up that kind of thing from her. So he's also like that, very clear. Tomorrow I'm doing X and Y and Z. I need you to do X and Y and Z. And Lorato, he would be so nonchalant about everything. You go to the shops and everybody's clear about what they want. He's like, no, I'm okay. Next thing, 3 weeks later, you know, TV, he won't be there. When you find him in there, he moves. So all of us will be there. Like, hold on a second, there's 4 of us here, right?
Where's the other guy?
And then you call him and he's just not interested.
I always find middle children very, very interesting. Never mind the fact that TV shows and stuff, but like every time, they are very, very different. And it's funny that you mentioned him before we mentioned Ababangwe individually, because like I find them very, very interesting. But like we're here to talk about you. And before our good friends at Drinks Direct have hooked us up with some Irish whiskey. I know you're coming from work.
I haven't eaten.
Yeah,
it's a trap.
Hey, to some extent,
is that what you want to do?
But
get my tongue loose.
Get your tongue loose. Relax a little bit. You work hard.
Thanks, Drinks Direct.
Hey, but do you drink whiskey though?
Yeah. I'm an Ida.
Hey, okay.
It depends on the mood, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
Not so much but I mean I'd be happy to try out this whiskey.
Hey.
He drinks whiskey, so I'll tell him if it's it's good.
Yes,
so you can get it as well. Yeah.
It's available for close to about $300 to $400. Or you can always head up Bonabatuba Drinks Direct online. They are on Facebook and stuff like that. So this is what me and Tumie are going to be on. Majita intelligence.
All right.
Just about 1779.
Okay. No, I never said ho. Sharp.
Okay. I know what type of show this is going to be. Hey, because like I should also mention when it was made, like when it was 1779. Did you ever find it like as someone who reads up a lot? Like
1779.
Yeah, 1779. And I always find it interesting whenever, like, apart from Jeff Ramsey, the only time we ever find out anything about what happened in this country, you know, is Kadifakani, we're 1880 something. These niggas have a whiskey from 1779. Like, as someone who reads up a lot, like, don't you ever try to look that up? Like, or maybe I'm just going crazy because I smelt it and it smells amazing.
I think that's exactly what it is.
It always gets me all kinds of messed up. But yeah, let me just get back to you, all right?
Was that a warning?
Yeah, no. It's the show's going to be everywhere. Because first of all, I miss you, but also I'm trying to be very professional.
Okay.
And I know.
Are we going to take a sip?
Yeah, cheers,
okay,
man.
Cheers.
Hey, I know this is going to kick my bum, but hey.
Doesn't everything? Yeah.
It's delicious, but god damn. All right, so
it actually is very nice, very smooth.
It's very smooth.
Yeah.
I agree. People have been fasting since the beginning of the year. Now I get on fast out. But I got a similar claim because in some of the write-ups that our producer was able to pick up, you were born in Gabz and you're not ashamed to describe yourself as a Gabz girl. Apparently, this is from one of the write-ups that thing. So, as a proud Gabz girl, do you still share these sentiments?
As a proud Gabz woman?
Woman.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, ngana
yeah. 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 That's exactly what it was.
What did it entail back in the day? Because all I remember, Nelebo, her, curl. There was a lot of
I mean, there was a lot of, no, we didn't have the ers.
Your Berber's so curt.
Yeah.
Oh, your baby's so cute.
Your Berber's so curt.
Your Berber's so curt.
Oh, Scar's really horrible. I actually told him the story about.
Oh, your burp is so good. Everyone had an R in
everything. Yeah, it did have a negative connotation, to be known as a Gabz girl. But for me, the truth of the matter is we were people that were born and bred in Gaborone. We must be proud of it. It doesn't take away who we are in terms of heritage, type of thing. It doesn't mean that because I was born and raised in Gaborone and I identify with the city, that I've lost who I am as a Motswana woman or as a Motswana girl, so.
Most deaf. No, because after some time, there was a negative connotation to it. I think at the ATI, I was one of the people who loosened up Bo-Kele-Ket by actually making it a track. And there was all of a sudden all of these kids who were calling themselves that.
My cat.
Hey, Ket. And back in the day, you were thinking, but growing up in Gaborone, where did you go to school? Like, which schools did you go to?
I went to... let me start with nursery school,
You guys who went to the fancy nursery schools do that. But
no, I actually didn't go to a fancy nursery school.
Yeah.
And as we go along, if I get the chance, I'll share with you, one of my aspirations or goals, moving forward. So I went to a nursery school called BCW, Botswana Council of Women.
Yeah.
It's right next to Orange, where the Orange building is in the main mall, right? Interestingly,
where we used to park our car.
Exactly. That is actually a nursery school that I went to.
Okay.
Yeah. So interestingly, this nursery school was set up by the women in the Botswana Council of Women, one of which was my grandmother, right? They started up BCW and then they decided, Banaba, the helpers actually didn't have nursery schools to go to, right? And so they set up that nursery school so that their children's, their helpers' children could then start off at nursery school, right? They've continued now to have branches all over the country. I don't know how, I can't tell you for sure in 2024 what the situation is with BCW, but BCW has branches all over as an association for women. But then in each of the areas where they are, there's a nursery school.
Wow.
Right? And that was to ensure that even back then, back in the early 80s, their early childhood development was something that they we're making sure that it actually happens, right?
I'm sure they're pissed off right now because all we keep talking about is Miss Botswana.
This is exactly it. And yet there's so much more that that the Botswana Council of Women offers, right?
Why didn't it go down that road? That sucks,
man. And even on Miss Botswana, that they were the only license holder, for the country. Good, that's something that should have been celebrated. It's just a pity that over the years, there was a lot of bad publicity, I guess, over management and things like that.
Prizes, to me, prizes.
Yeah.
But that's what
we've digressed. Yes, anyway, we've digressed. So I went to the nursery school at BCW.
That's literally growing up in Gaborone.
Yes, absolutely. I was born at Princess Marina Hospital A.
Down the street from Roma.
Exactly, right? And I mean, also living in Extension 9, just behind here, right? Just behind where we are here by Leo's Inn. In fact, did you know that? My goodness, here I go.
No, please.
I only had one sip and already I'm just...
Please.
Did you know that this very place... like this house, what it was before, yes, it was. If you would know tennis and then not in Notwane, I must actually do a history book on Gaborone, don't you think?
Oh, we have cameras.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
These kids won't read, man.
So when I came by here, I was like, oh, okay, great. I've been here before. I just didn't know that it was looking as nice as it is right now.
Beautiful,
as Leo's guest in. Yeah. But anyway, back to me and... in school. And then began Bentema primary school, right? Standard
alumni.
You know this.
No
you know
doubt,
this,
man.
So Bentema primary school. And then I skipped a standard. Then went to Nikitseroko Bokamuso. Yeah. And my mom felt that Bokamuso was too far from home. And at that point, Mauka CJSS in Nelokone Buluang. So I think I did about 2, 3, 4 weeks at Bokamuso. And then I was transferred to Mauka. So we were the first batch of students that started Mauka CJSS.
Awesome
and then
stuff.
from Mauka, I went to GSS.
Awesome stuff.
Yeah, and then University of Botswana.
So,
Blind. Blind.
So how do you think that define the person that you are? Because we always know in Botswana, especially during Nakotsalona, there was always that separation between kids who grew up private school kids and also public school kids. I have to have this conversation sometimes, but I hate having this conversation sometimes because people always look at me like, when I'm on similar civil war,
Yeah.
But in the same way, opportunities or how things are currently happening in BW. And a lot of the people who even run this country went to the same private school. There's always been like a way, school in Botswana meant like your way would move a certain way. You know what I mean? So I'm asking you, as one who went through the government system of BW, how do you think that influenced the person that you became?
I think when we were growing up, sure, there was private school and there was government school, as Thornhill and Northside have always been there. I'm just
playing with them.
You went there, didn't you?
Hey, I know, I have to go there because they run the country. A lot of the people went to Thornhill and Northside run the country.
Yeah. I don't know how to respond to that, And in fact, now that you say it, I kind of see it, But maybe what it boils down to is people just being a little bit deliberate, intentional about, maintaining that network and using that network to go forward. So we can't necessarily fault them. It's like how you have a gentleman's club, a boys' club, or whatever, Rothschild. There's people out there in the world over who actually have that type of setup, right? So, we can then create our own and say, listen, he's an alumni, and then just make sure that we move forward together. You know what I mean?
It's always in the food because it's a lot of that. Those people, it goes as far as primary school.
It
and
really
that's what
does.
I always try to tell people. I see some of my friends trying to throw themselves in those circles, and you never really in there. And even when it comes to business, when they're older now, these niggas still mess with each other like that.
That is very true. But you see, my point is, what actually stops us from then creating those circles? Because they started from somewhere.
I always feel that way about
there was always that. There was always
the confidence
that.
element. So where did you get your confidence to I think we've had personal conversations, and I can see the comments already, man. And it's about to get worse.
But you've been doing well so far.
But I know, you attended talent shows. You were out with the well-known people who went to different schools than you did at the time. So how were you able to be, out there? Seeing Gabz City for what it is. And what was it? Was it a dusty place? Like, what was this place?
It didn't feel dusty at all, My grandparents who raised me, as I said, live in Extension 9. So my best friend who lived right next door to me, on Azanako North Side.
Okay.
My brother, stroke uncle, went to North Side. All my friends in the neighborhood, North Side, Ghana, Bent. I mean, like one at the black and white, and then when we be hanging around, shame. When we be hanging around, Thornhill, right? Yeah. So where do you go to school? Ba especially when like kids would come from other towns, you know, to come and do one of these sports, sabone, you know, I'd always kind of play that card, you know. But I think when I think about it right now, it's quite sad because then I didn't want to identify with my own circumstances. You know what I mean? I don't know if that is what then would have helped me, you know, overcoming that. Is that what gave me the confidence, or it's just a gift that I had from God, that even at that point when I was around them, you couldn't tell that this one was from Bentama. Only I knew, right? And then, but I still could be amongst them, you know. So I don't know, Scar. I guess I turned out kind of okay, having been through that system, being around people who are in a different schooling system. But at the end of the day, it really didn't take away from me who I am or who I'm destined to be.
I asked that because, like, we have a lot of similar things about that, in that, like, you know, the neighborhoods that I grew up in, because people always want to figure out, how do we end up being in front of all of these people with all of this confidence? Hey, man, where did you get it? You went to school just like me. How did you get this superpower? And I think it's the environment that you grow up in. I grew up in a neighborhood, a lot of them in Batswana Kotok when they spring. A lot of them are foreigners. So
when they spring it like from
Samantha Mogoya, and a bunch of guys. There were Zambians, there were Ghanaians, and I will never forget it. Like, I'd come from another neighborhood where guys, you know, and then when we got to that neighborhood, I'll never forget it, man. I was being dissed about how I speak, like Sam, because a lot of people, even now, you speak so well. What's in a guy? But it was because of that group of people. Especially Samantha Mogo's elder sister, Nell. Because, like, they'll be dissing me, you know. I never told them that I went to that school. I was just too chicken. But at the same time, you know, you get dissed about it, but then you gain some confidence from being wrong. But then you get better, you know, and then you get better, and then you start getting confidence in yourself. And that's why I feel like there's a similarity in that story.
Absolutely.
Or you overcome, you know, a lot of stuff by just learning from your friends. So do you think Honor growing up like that helped you have an interest in speaking and hosting? Like, what talent did you have at that age, do you think?
Apparently, Neke, pap. Right? And I mean, when I was in standard 1, I said earlier that I skipped a standard, right? I remember being at Bentama Primary School and assembly. Kisupiwa as this child who can read standard 7 English books, right? And I guess it was an amazing feat then, you know, that, you know, she could be so young and yet be able to read as well as she does. Okay. Obviously something like that when you are so young would instill some level of confidence in you. Okay. When I was in standard 6, they were looking for presenters for radio Botswana, you know. But I have to admit though, Sky, and I think I'm struggling to answer your question because I don't know what it is. I don't think I actually had the answer to what it is that gave me that confidence, because throughout my whole primary school years, even before the standard 6 story that I'm going to tell you about, I was always in the forefront of something or the other. I was always selected to go and do something, go to represent. Either I am not the class monitor per se, but I will be called in to do whatever it is that was needed. Or when I was always showing people something or being asked to show people something, right? And I don't think in that little mind of mine at that point it was anything that I would have left home saying, oh, today I'm going to ask the teacher to do this or get the teacher to do this with me. It was just something that was inherent
in me. I'm sure.
Precisely, you know. So that's why I get it. It's hard to kind of say where would you have gotten the confidence from, because it looks like it's something that, as I said earlier, it would be a God-given talent. So to how I then got to this medium, radio, and then eventually television, as I say, in standard 6, Radio Botswana was looking for presenters, and what will they do? They'll select there's always those prize students, right? So they called myself and a friend of mine, Didi Malo, to go and
Puka's sister?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
She's pretty quiet though.
no,
from
but-
a distance.
she absolutely is. She was my BFF at at that point was standard 5, standard 6, and still a very good friend of mine up to now. So we were then taken to do broadcasting educational content for Radio Botswana, and that was my first taste of radio. And well, that's then been the course throughout.
Was it pre-recorded?
We would go in to record, and so there were 10 scripts for a whole term. So we would go. It was 10 scripts for the term, so we'd go every week to the Radio Botswana studios and read that script. It was social studies for standard 7 that we were doing.
Did you pass it?
Of course, I passed everything.
So that's really neat.
That was
though.
my first radio job.
Down the street from your former school, and your neighborhood is right there.
Yes, right, all in the central.
Because I get RB, was it RB1, RB2?
It was RB1. RB1 is where is right. I think the RB1 is where DIS is right now.
How was the building for you when you walked in? Like what do you still remember it? Do you remember the smell? do you remember anything about like your first radio experience?
Yeah, I remember receiving the script for the first time, and being asked to read it. And that's why I really always feel like, can I get a script first and just get a sense of what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And then just kind of going through it and being told that you must practice. And then when we got there, we were like really little, you know. When we walked, we went through that gate. You walk in all the way until and then you're taken into, was it called the green room at the time? I'm not quite sure. Can't quite remember. Yeah. You know, I've actually never gone to that memory in that manner.
Yeah. But what was going on?
Yeah.
I remember when I walked into UB, I've never seen anything that big in my life. But then I started going into it. I was like, what is this thing?
Yeah.
Because the first time is always like, I always try to go back to like the first feeling about it.
Yeah.
So, you do your schoolwork. Are you still going back and forth to do more of this work? Or was that a once-off situation?
Which one?
When you were recording
we did it for some time. I think we did it all the way through until standard 7 or...
Yikes.
Yeah, it must have been.
Did they pay?
Yes, they were paying us.
How much?
We were getting 4 pula script.
Okay.
What?
No, I'm just saying.
I mean,
$4
listen,
is a lot.
I was in standard 6. What was I, 11? Right?
Hey.
And I remember our very first paycheck, which came after the term. Yeah. Our very first paycheck. Harry legit. We went to Jet stores with my friend, and we bought matching outfits. We were like shorts and a little shirt. Hers were, I think her shorts were pink. Mine were blue, but the shirts niditwana. And then what year was this? I can't remember the year. I mean, we are choosing not to remember the year.
No, you're choosing not to remember the year.
I was trying to. But what I was trying to remember is what I wanted to share is that I've got this memory of how then UB40 then came to Botswana, and we went with our parents and we wore those same matching outfits that we had bought with our own hard-earned cash.
No, but don't give paycheck. Does that then affect like how you do at school? Because I'm trying to get to where you now go to tertiary, and you start advertising. How was your schooling before you started thinking about making dough on the radio?
Yeah.
Was there disturbance
with
radio?
With radio. No, I mean I was in standard 6, obviously right? And then I mean I was alright from 1, from 2, still very active in one thing or the other. At GSS I worked on the magazine, the student magazine.
Okay.
Yeah. I joined the team that was doing the student magazine. Can you see how it kind of going, right?
Comes together.
Yeah, and I didn't actually see it like that at the time, right? And then GSS, I didn't do as well as I'd wanted. I was in the science stream, but my results were quite shocking.
You want to give us a hint?
Yeah, I can give you a hint. I was devastated. I think that's like it was such a crucible moment for me because it really made me wonder about myself, right? Everybody actually put me more. I could have been about 6 A stars because I confidence to get the results. I was certain that definitely get more about 6 A stars, right? Only to get there, and then I got a B. I got a B.
So everyone is looking at you like, what? It was a disappointment because you got a B now?
It was a huge disappointment, even to myself. No, it's true, Scar.
Oh.
Can't you see I'm about to
devastated.
cry?
Yeah.
You know?
You can't even breathe.
So I had really had thoroughly disappointed myself. But anyway, I still was able to get on UB onto the science to do a science course, right? So BSc Part 1, because much as my results were as they were, my sciences were and maths were really, really good.
Okay.
So I then started BSc Part 1 go UB.
We really appreciate you guys hanging out with us today, man. Hanging out with none other than Tumie Ramsden. Doesn't get any better than this. But a quick word though, if you are looking to send your parcels from Botswana to South Africa, Expert Express Deliveries BW offers courier and logistics services between Botswana and Joburg on a daily overnight express delivery basis at competitive rates. Now, what you need to do is visit www.expertexpress.co.bw. That's www.expertexpress.co.bw for more information. Or you can always book a collection. If someone is sending you something this side, or contact +267 7549 8811, or visit our office at plot 68303. That's plot 68303 and unit 1 Ko Pakalani Industria. Expert Express Deliveries BW, anything, anywhere, on time. Now let's get back to our conversation. So, we're still talking about BSc, okay? Did you really think you could be able to do it? Like, because everyone was pressured to do it, and that was the only way for someone to leave the country?
I actually thought I could do it.
Yeah.
In fact, I imagined that was the only thing I could do. But then I realized, much later, it's just one of those things where you're put in a box, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's just been on your case about how good you are at the one thing.
Yeah.
And yet, your destiny really is another path.
Yeah.
So when I enrolled for Bachelor of Science at UB, I had every intention of being. What's that? Oh,
no,
sorry.
Don't worry. It's our fan. It doesn't reach this. These are big mics.
Anyway, so when I enrolled for BSc, I had every intention of being a pharmacist. That's what I wanted to do because I absolutely loved chemistry. And so, yes, I could have done the 1797 whiskey one way or the other.
No doubt.
Yeah. So I thought I could do chemistry. And so that's the path I pursued.
Okay.
But quickly, when I got to UB, I think then the media bug just kept. It had me going back to media, right? So I remember you spoke about Mascom earlier.
Yeah.
It was when I was doing my first year at UB that Mascom, I think there was a first cellular network in the country, and Mike Proctor needed someone to come and do the voice, the
voice prompt.
Voice prompter.
I'm trying to see if I'm calling your old number. Like I want to see if it's.
No, it's not. It's not online.
It's not online.
I don't.
Oh, yeah,
yeah.
I want to get the Mascom number that you. So that was first year.
That was me in my first year. Yeah, that we recorded.
Was it before or after you had been Corridio?
It had been. just as I had started radio.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, it had been just as I started radio. So they all kind of happened around about the same time.
So did you know how much of a big deal it is? Like,
No, definitely.
like this thing, Malcolm is 25 years old right
Yeah.
now. So that voice is 25. Are you for real?
Yeah. In fact, I recorded it, I think, before they actually started business in the country.
I remember there was a time when voice prompts was quite a big deal.
Yeah.
But how were you chosen for your voice? How do you think were people, so many people resonated with how, your voice sounded?
I have no idea how I was selected. All I know is that Mike Proctor came through, and at that point, I already had a gig at Yarona FM. So
How did you get the gig on Yarona?
Okay.
We
So
were ultimately going to go there.
yeah, I know exactly, right?
Like a slippery slope.
Yeah, so maybe it actually wasn't first year. It might have been second year, come to think of it.
Yeah.
But when I was doing my first year at UB, and Yarona FM had just started. My goodness, I'm mixing the years. It must be the PADI.
No,
But
remember how
yeah. So Yarona FM started when I was at UB during my first year. So I wasn't there the first year of Yarona FM. Right.
It's a bad idea. I'm just thinking about it. Or BSc and radio.
But simultaneously, but right.
98, 99.
99.
Because they were at Grandpa around 98, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then I wasn't
pretty much.
doing my first year because
You're
I did my
probably-
first year in 1997. That's when I was doing my first year at UB. So this would have then happened 98, 99, right?
Okay.
So when they started, I wasn't as part of the first cohort of presenters.
Okay.
Although I knew of the radio station and what was going on because I was already friends with the owners or friendly,
Yeah.
or we knew each other with the same circles. Listen, I was dating cousin Matata at the time, so
Because you were going to ask,
Yes,
how were
yes,
you in the
yes.
circle? Okay.
at that point, I
And
was.
Matata being one of the founders.
And Matata being at least with the founders, he had been in the mix.
Okay.
Anyway, so when they started, I wasn't a part of it, right?
Yeah.
And then I guess because I had not been discovered, but then maybe a year in. And I'm decided not to mention dates anymore because I'm embarrassing myself in the process. But a year in, they then needed new presenters. So they had a call out, right, for presenters to come and audition.
Okay.
Now, I see this call in the newspapers. I think it was in the Guardian newspaper, if I'm not mistaken. I see this call and I'm like, but I want to do this thing. But already I'm in this circle, I don't want it to seem as if I want to use them to get a better advantage. So I didn't tell any one of them that I would be applying. I applied on the very last day of the deadline day. That's when I put in my submission. I didn't want to take it myself. So I asked a gentleman who was working with my sister at BHC. I think your mom was there at the time as well.
Botswana Housing Corporation.
Exactly. And his name is Kenny Rentole. So I gave it to my sister. My sister gave it to him to go and drop it off for me at Yarona FM.
Was this a demo?
No, it was just an application. I'm interested in becoming a presenter. Precisely. Yeah. But just a little bit of a backstory here.
Yeah.
When I'd be walking from home, from school to home, I'd record myself. In fact, I had like a little Samsung where I could kind of do voice recording. I'd record myself because at that point, Yarona FM was already there. It was already on air.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm a radio lover. I used to call RB2 when I was younger. I used to listen to Radio Bop and all of that, right? So then now we've got this this local radio station up, and I just imagine myself doing it, right? And I'd do this thing when I was on my own, nobody's watching, pretend that I am actually presenting on air. Anyway, so I submit my application on the 31st of May. Don't tell any of these guys. I make it through, and then I'm called for auditions. And I then did the auditions. and I made it.
Yeah.
I made it. That's how I got into Yarona FM. I wasn't handpicked. I wasn't picked out. If I do the math correctly, Scar, I don't know where Mike Proctor knew me from, but I think he called me in to do the Mascom voiceover before I actually joined Yarona FM. I just need to check. I'm not sure.
You know what's crazy about like a guy like Mike Proctor? It's
Yeah.
like, he's always been like had an eye for like talent. I never understood how. In a place in social media.
Yeah.
In a place where not a lot of people knew what talent was. Mike always knew how to pick it. Like how I met BK, Mike literally went and got me from where I was and said, yo, I got this young homie, why he's working at the studio, he'll be dumbing himself down.
Yeah.
And then that's how I met BK.
Yeah.
I started going to the studio to record music with BK. A lot of people, like even Brando, the likes of
Exactly.
Brando, the likes of QBO, the likes of all of these people. So I'm always wondering, like, how
did he
he's
do it?
able to see it? But
yeah.
don't you think any one of your people put in a good word?
I don't think so at all, because I don't think they had...
Do you think they thought you could do it?
I don't even think they even considered
Because
it.
I'm thinking,
at
the beginning, because I was an avid Yarona FM listener, I could tell you had nerves a little bit as a listener.
Yeah.
Because do you think some people were more... Why do you think other people came on before you? Like came on and started getting shine and like what was your process? How did you become the Tumie that we ultimately, couldn't live without every day? How was your process? Did you come in kicking the door in, and people overlooked you, or do you think I needed to grow in this space?
I believe I needed to grow into this space.
Yeah.
In fact, I was going to say to you before you brought that element in.
Yeah, well, I'll place in comments. Come on.
Askis, that wasn't the intention. Yeah, but I always look back at it, and for me, the biggest lesson out of it was that, you actually have to go through the rungs of the ladder to get to the top, So it may not have been my intention, but it was a path that I went on.
Yeah.
And what it did is it helped create a lot more substance, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I went in, yes, the nerves were definitely there.
Yeah.
I had
Kato had more nerves, Miss T. And she's my people. You know what I mean? She's a neighbor. But like I'm saying about the nerves, like...
No,
Batswana have that thing. I mean,
Yeah.
even when you perform, so all along,
music wa lona wena le V ka di dreadlocks nyana o no tsa gore o never saw we can railroad her. Is that where you guys were at?
I felt like there was a lot more other people who were more confident about themselves.
Yes.
But you were bringing it, but you were not, let's say, all up in our face, maybe. In that regard.
Yeah.
So I that's why I'm saying, did you believe, or it was that one, or you needed to like grow into the person you are?
I hate it when you do this to me, because what you always do is that bring out those parts of me that I'm not willing to acknowledge. But the truth of the matter is, what you've just said literally is a description of me. Right? In that I am not the first to believe that I can do it. I'm always watching these motivational things, and people, run on about how, because I'm so confident. In fact, I shy away, or I'm probably even repelled by people who are overconfident.
Yeah.
And mainly because I am not an overconfident personality at all, right?
Yeah.
So maybe, yes, I was overlooked because I didn't put myself up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as I said, then I guess the time that it took for me to get now to the ultimate was exactly what I needed, so that when I come up and I become, then there is the substance that's needed. Like I've laid the foundation very strong and very thick.
Definitely.
Right?
Because that's always what I'm asking people about, like, what do you do? Why are you famous?
Yeah.
A lot of the time, and a lot of them, like, they have so many likes. Like, you'll be having so many followers, and then you're like, but like, my nigga, what do you do? and they don't even know what it is
Yeah.
that they do. You're famous for being famous.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm saying that to say, like, I think that's also what also built you up, in that
Yeah.
like you were able to identify what makes you great. So when they finally stopped, because I don't want to get into the Yarona FM story as if like, well, every show here we are always trying to attack them. You know, Yarona FM did do some great work, and they did identify you when the time came. That's how.
But did they?
I'm asking you.
Yeah, but
I'm trying
did
to be
they?
the voice of reason today. I saw about the
Yeah.
Oriental
But you know,
you are sent. You are sent.
and the reason I ask if they did is because now reflecting upon, you know, my journey there, is that it wasn't easy, right?
Yeah.
At the point where it was actually easy and there was enough confidence to put me out there, there had really been a lot of work, probably mohonna, or dare I say, maybe there was no one else to put in, you know. But I know that if I were to say it like that, I wouldn't be telling the truth. I know I wouldn't be telling the truth, so I wouldn't say that, right? So in fact, they helped build a formidable character for radio, right? But that building also came with a lot of lack of belief. And maybe it's because I didn't have that belief in myself.
Maybe.
You
But
see
you were
what I
young
mean?
Also.
Hey,
Very young.
I was.
Yeah, a lot of people in that space are usually very young. To this day as well, they are always very young, impressionable minds.
Yeah.
Which then begs the question, do you think, because they used to hold that number over people. I mean, we're going to get into the mid-morning affair, the real enchilada and all of that. But
Yeah.
since we're here,
Yeah.
it looks like the model is young and impressionable. And we can do as and what we want to do with you when we want to do with you. Maybe you were just more dare I say it, durable.
It's like excuse me, what does that even mean?
I'm just saying, you
Like,
were able
I
to
don't-
take it. You were able to take being overlooked a lot of the time.
But
Because
was I-
ultimately when you became,
Yeah.
when we became breakfast, how long had you been doing the mid-morning affair?
I've been doing the mid-morning affair for maybe 4 years. Was it?
It's a long time to be doing one show.
You know, Scar, I actually don't consider it.
You're nearly between, let's give people some context here. This is a show right after primarily what they call the primetime show, which is the
Yes.
breakfast show.
Yes.
Since we do the weekend thinking, where now you connect the people from 9 a.m. until 12, I get it.
Absolutely.
So who are these people who are listening to you at this time?
In fact, it's funny you should raise that because, you know, there'd be meetings where we talk about which show is actually doing the most, right?
Yeah.
And the mid-morning affair at that point, because it had found connections, right? And the numbers were showing.
Yeah.
But it was, no, yeah, but all these are passive listeners. I remember that so well because I said, but look at how well this show is actually doing, you know, versus, you know, your primetime shows or the ones that are the ones that you look at, right? But then I was told, I get LSM, what? Hey, these are passive listeners. You know, it hurt because everybody would say, we're connecting. And there was awards to actually show for it, right? But I was reminded of the fact that it wasn't the primetime show, right? It was just people who are almost kind of sort of listening, not really listening. And I'm just
Okay,
like,
but I
dude.
ask you though, who's listening between 9 and 12? People at work, I get.
Absolutely.
And some niggas are driving around trying to get maybe that's what they meant.
But
passive
some,
listeners.
no, but yeah, and
Who was listening at 9 to 12?
you could call them that. But if you look at the different features that were on the show and the response that you're getting on those features, right? You know, when I started the mid-morning affair, I was very clear that I wanted a magazine program, right? One that go to the agony aunt. So I literally took a magazine and looked at what was you know what I mean, and I structured that show out of that, because those are things that people connect with, right? So yes, there's the gentleman who's only getting home, kanakoyo, as you put it, right? But the fact of the matter is, what you were getting in those 3 hours, passive or not, was real connections.
At the time, we talk about monetizing the content at the time.
Yeah.
Do you think because everyone else around you was getting, if it's a breakfast show and the drive time, they were getting more money.
Yes.
And it was mainly dudes. Did you think you would never get your way because you were a woman? How was it being a woman in that space in that time, and how did it affect your bottom line?
There's the gender card always comes up, Scar, right? So, and then you're also tagged to do the softer issues. Yeah, go ahead, do Save My Soul. It's a woman thing. You know what I mean?
The best feature on radio, Save My Soul.
You know what I mean? But if you don't get the sponsors coming on board, to get to the bottom line as you speak, then, well, because how else are we going to do it? Because you can't do the hardcore things, right? But I think, if I recall well, we were able to get some real good features. In fact, that's the reason why, Scar, at a time when they needed to make a decision, then I could be moved to breakfast, and I feel that the move was not me banging on doors saying, "Oh, don't you see that what I'm doing?" I had the work, right? I had the work to show. I didn't ask for it. They said, "Come and do it." In fact, I turned it down. I said, "I don't think I was ready." Because it's always been made to look like this thing that only certain people can do, right? Only certain people can do.
And
only men can be the lead. Yeah, a breakfast show. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
I saw on order there was a lot of patriarchy in radio.
Yeah.
But
so for what it's worth, though, Scar, for what it's worth, and I go back to the rungs of a ladder, that I'm talking about, overlooked or not, politics or not, whatever the case may have been, it was valuable. Because it helped build, go from here to there, so that by the time you actually do what you need to do, then you're doing it perfectly.
Definitely.
Or so close to perfect as possible.
No, close to perfect. We can try.
Yeah.
I want to talk about for people by and right now consider themselves content creators. You create a content every day.
Yeah.
That you put on air live. I don't know if you think about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
It's like
I do.
You create content, put it on air. It's not like you pre-recorded and you can edit it.
Yep.
You spew it out. You were able to get a social connection that only, I think, trying to think, except the Kwasa Kwasa show on Sundays on RB1. I don't know. Because they'll be screaming, "Oh my God." But like social impact from radio. Apart from the parties here, it was more of the social element. Do you think you can sell that? Were you able to sell that component, or were you always feeling like, if I could go political? What was it? What do you think? I don't know how to put it though, because how they felt and all of that. Is that bankable?
If the numbers can show that.
Even now, like some people, mental health issues were not that big back then, but niggas were calling on your show like crazy.
Yeah.
People were going through their own emotional baggage. That's how I think iconic that hour, that 9 to 12 hour became, and that even the ladies we saw come next after that always had the social element. Even Goveya on RB2 talks to niggas on a social level. You know what I mean?
But I mean, what are you doing on radio if it's not to connect to people and their souls?
Yeah.
Right? The reason
You gotta
why...
sell. Who's gonna pay for all of this?
No, but then you're going to sell if people are actually listening.
Yeah.
You've got the captive audience, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the people that are listening are not listening to hear other people's problems. In fact, it's funny we should talk about this because at one point I was told, yeah, but come on, it's dreary, nobody wants to listen to other people's problems. You're like, in fact, you'll be quite surprised. It's not that they want to listen to people's problems. They're just trying to figure out how it is that they can actually get assistance.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I always feel that radio must really connect to the soul. It must connect to the individual that's listening. Remember, when you're on, I'm talking to Scar.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to Solomon.
Yeah.
I'm not talking to Abby.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Scar.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm talking to Scar as an individual.
Yeah.
Let me correct this.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Scar as an individual.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Abby as an individual.
Yeah.
I'm talking to Solomon as an individual.
Yeah.
I am not talking to people.
My
Well,
listeners.
I'm not talking to my listeners. So you must feel that I am. You must feel the connection between me and you, and that's what makes radio so special.
Yeah. Owen used to talk about like how back in the day people used to look well. Rona ba ne re kgona re tlogele ko morakeng re le malaitinyana go sena la ile watch so go sena like a cell phone or whatever. The only way you'd know what time it is if you're listening to the radio.
And then you hear somebody say, check your time for 10 o'clock.
So I understand the power of the medium.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stick too much on because you have a whole life out here, Mamisto. The real
I'm 46 this year.
Whatever. When they told you that you're going to be working with me, how did they tell you? I
don't
know.
What do you mean?
No.
I think they told you first.
Oh.
You know they told you first. Don't go, ow.
Was it after Idols?
It was, yeah.
It was after Idols. I've been working with Sasami.
You've been working on 610. That's for sure.
So I moved from the afternoon, the afternoon to late, 6 to 10 in the evening.
There's no afternoon, there's evening.
It's evening. So it was from 6 to 10 in the morning now.
Yeah.
So how... Not that I just have my own way about this stuff. So, and everyone knows, I think, a lot of my story.
Yeah.
I want to hear from your point of view.
So how did they tell me that I'm going to be working with you?
And why on earth did you agree?
I don't even know myself. But I loved every moment of it, didn't you?
No, I did. I loved all of it.
So they, I can't quite remember if it was Owen or Tumie. Would have been Owen as the programs manager, who then said, "Listen, we're making a shift, and we're moving you to breakfast." Was that after Robin left?
It was probably after Robin left.
Yeah,
they were panicking.
So we're moving you on to breakfast. We think you're ready, and we've got this idea. We think you can work with Scar, and the gist of it was a battle of the sexes.
Yeah,
which you've been doing anyhow.
Yeah,
with Sasami. And then battle of the ages as well, you know. So you bring in that mature element.
Yeah. That too,
and
because someone was a problem. Everything was a fight.
No, but as I brought in the mature element, and you were to bring. I get if it's a battle of the ages, and then you bring in the younger element, right? Yes, and what was I doing at that time? I remember. There's a place called Koano Court in this vicinity still. Yeah. I literally went outside of the yard of Koano Court. Koano, by the way, is the name of a diamond. Koano Court on the other side. Go to like the wall. I literally sat down under a tree out and thought about this because I'm like, okay, what are these guys doing to me? Remember, as they break this news to me, I've already kind of created something that works for me, right?
The mid-morning affair was not to be played with, man.
That is where I found myself. I was most authentic.
Yeah.
I did things how I wanted. I loved
That's why
it.
kids stole phones to go hang with
Yeah.
school. Never read it away.
But never passive about what.
But that's not even passive.
That's the
kid
point
was
I'm
willing
making.
They were willing to get in trouble. Good lasting to listen to the show.
That's the point I'm making.
But there wasn't enough analysts that much. No, it's not the analysts that did enough to collect the data and Nagalo. But Kabelo Binzili, Bohotwire are trying to be able to collect enough information about the market trends and whatever.
Yeah.
They were lying. They were just trying to tell you your kung fu was whack. And they just didn't want to promote you. I'm just saying.
Where you at?
No,
Okay, sure.
Okay. So, you went under the tree.
Yeah, so I'm like, okay, what in the world am I to do with this, right?
Yeah.
I had known you, respected you fully, but I just didn't know if we could gel, right? I didn't actually know if I could co-host. So it was quite daunting, right? So I'm not sure. I don't think I was necessarily excited. I was scared. But then again, it goes back to just how I process my things. I said to you earlier, like I must just really get into the vibe first. I must... I don't carry that overconfidence. Oh, I got this thing, A friend of mine says, "Can I let this fake modesty?" She's so rude, and I carry it up to this day type of thing. I mean, some may call it fake modesty or like extreme humility, but that's just who I am, So I just didn't know if I'd be able to. How it's gonna pan out. I couldn't see it. I already found my funk. Anyway, then Owen called us for a meeting at Primi Piatti.
And then we designed the show.
And we designed the show. And I'd learned so much on radio over the years, back to the rungs, that I knew it. Like, okay, on the clock, right? At 5 minutes after, this is what would work, right? Because people, all of the stuff that they were actually teaching us at Yarona FM over the years, I think I just mastered it to a T. We
like the class nerd, like the one who says, "Let's do everything by the rules. Let's do everything by the rules." I could never
be a class nerd. Who are you talking about?
No, you, except for prep. Mari,
what do you mean except for prep? I did prep more than you did prep.
But at least about understanding the concept.
I can't believe this. I did prep more than you ever did prep.
But that's what I'm saying. Being ready is ready. But we always got in trouble for prep, though.
No, we obviously always got into trouble for prep because maybe we didn't do prep as often as we needed to do prep, but then we needed to do prep and then we would do prep, maybe not to the extent to which it was needed.
Detailed.
No, Scar, actually, no. Unusta Paddy, let's talk about this.
Yeah.
The times when we got into trouble for prep, who had not done prep?
I don't, listen. Sips
Paddy.
No, sip Paddy away. A lot of the time, and I don't know, I smoked a lot of weed at that time. So what I thought, I was paranoid. And a lot of the time, it just felt like, here I am, this amazing superstar. I'm being put together with this lady, and she's loved in this building. You know what I mean? Especially because you're the little sister also. And
no, because I did my stuff.
And you were also a good...
No, I had done my stuff.
And you were good. And I would never take that away.
Yeah.
I would never take away from Honor Nuira Spanisago, but it was also the element of...
No, Scar.
I always felt
Didn't
that way. And I
felt... Because you're Kwabon.
No, because I'm famous and I'm hot and shit, and you're Kwaboni.
No, but I was famous and hot and shit.
No, but I was going to.
You just said the mid-morning affair was what
big.
It was, right?
No, it wasn't national yet.
And it
wasn't national
was.
Yet.
Yes, it absolutely was. By the time you came on, it was national.
I think that was the fight.
I went around, and that was always a fight between you and I, because I think you couldn't fathom.
Humble myself.
No, I wasn't even trying for you to humble.
No. Everyone
yourself.
wanted me to humble myself at some point. Hang
on, can I ask a question?
He went across Africa. It's like, who does this little nigga think he is?
By the way, I did the auditions for Idols.
Not you.
I did the auditions for Idols.
I told Abby
ones that
about
you
that
got.
before.
Yeah.
Hore.
Oh, you know?
Everyone was at the Idols audition.
Yeah, no, we were all there, Shem.
All them niggas were mad.
Yeah. So,
that
you know,
I won
Scar.
that shit. And then what had happened is that, like, to this day, son, like, I still feel it.
No, but
You were cool with me, but I think a lot of people who went to that thing.
It was in your head. Wasn't it?
No, God, only you. You were the only person who was cool with me.
Yeah.
Because I remember driving in, I was in a cab, and then I got in there, and then I realized, oh shit, this is a big deal. And then I was able to get into it. And then after I did the whole program and whatever,
Yeah.
I was able to get into your, like, not even your level, but be around you to do a show like that. For me, that was a big deal. That's actually why, ultimately,
Yeah.
I quit school.
Yeah. Wait,
'Cause I'm gonna
did
tell
you
you
do
something.
Idols before Yarona FM?
I did Idols while I was at Yarona FM. Owen gave me 4 months leave.
Oh, great. Yeah.
He always makes me remember that.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
the
he
party-
allowed you to go.
Yeah. I allowed you to go. How many people do you?
But it was your moment, Scar. Do you realize this? So forget what anybody else thinks or wants, right? So you asked me earlier about whether I felt overlooked.
Yeah.
In actual fact, I never ever considered it that way. You know what I mean? When the time was right for you, you got that.
Yeah.
You got that deal, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, back to our fight and the fact that uno say reprep.
No.
Right?
To this day.
Oboruhan. Obontoh.
How? What did I say?
Not like ontoha.
Just because I could talk back. Kind of, some people get mad at me because, like, I give wabon. I give a man wabon.
Can I tell you a
Because,
story?
like, when I start arguing, it just becomes something else. It's just loud.
Yeah. Can I tell you a story? When you really, 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 really broke my heart.
Ow.
It's not a king. So, Nerulole, Kore, I think out of 5 days, when we were not on air,
Yeah.
right? On air, we were.
We kick
Great.
ass.
Kore, we'd be fighting before the mics are on,
Yeah.
right? And then Harachaho is like, okay, life goes on.
Turn
right?
the mic on and go.
This guy. I have a car accident, right? And I think I had a car accident on a Saturday evening. And on the Friday, we had a fought, or we hadn't been talking that week or whatever. So come Monday, I get this chick who's had a car accident, like, it was so like silly. You know, when you're or something silly like that. I think it was Mutusi Lesole's birthday. We're coming from Block 7 now, trying to go to Caravelle or whatever it is that we were doing, right? And then on Monday, I'm coming like a Tomala Pelonyana, make it 2 dile, ho stressful hell. This bloody guy then says, goon, goon, goon. I'm like, how dare you?
Oh my God.
Yeah. That was you.
I
You
know,
know, so
I'm
we had
sorry.
our great moments together.
Yeah.
And then we had those weird fights where you just wouldn't do prep.
Yep, and this is why we have Millie, and this is why we love you, Millie Zani. I'm going to go on to your the fact that you were able to get all of these awards as a radio presenter. And I'm going to, ask also, why do you think you never became programs manager?
Hey, our programs manager.
Or even station CEO?
But I don't know. Because they were overlooking me, perhaps?
It brings me back.
I don't know. I don't think at the time when I was at Yarona FM, remember, I left Yarona FM literally 12 years ago. It's been a while.
It's been a minute.
It's been a long while,
Yeah.
right? But I did try for the station manager position. I think there was an advert out, and I didn't see it. And then I was called to say, didn't you see the advert? Please, can you submit your CV?
While you're still working there?
Yeah, I'm
No
talking about
specific.
Malabanyana Yalaya.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Tumie, I'm talking about back then.
Oh. Kita itang hore ke ne ke sa nne CEO na.
Yeah, but you saw everyone become some sort of manager. They
But
made you marketing manager.
I was. No, I wasn't marketing
Yeah,
manager.
but you know that
I was
seat
never,
is like it's a death seat.
No, but I wasn't actually marketing manager, whatever.
I would no, marketing manager on a spot.
Scar,
That.
did I not put you on buses?
No, you
Didn't I
did.
put you on buses? Hang on.
That's a marketing tool. How does it have a marketing manager?
No, but still, I mean, who put it all together?
No, you did put me on a bus. Ultimately, I got on a billboard.
Exactly.
I'm
You know
that
what I mean?
nigga.
Yeah, but it wasn't just you, it was everybody else.
Yeah, but you need
Right?
some of me.
Whatever.
You know, none of this comes together without a bit of me.
Yeah, Raska.
But
you
I'm
know,
just
I
saying,
refuse.
Tumie,
No,
back
but
then-
because I wasn't ready for it.
But
Scar.
you would. Who says who?
I don't think I would have been able to do it, quite honestly.
And then you go and work for Standard Chartered and the Bears. What's a radio station?
Sips Paddy.
You're not. I'm really serious about this thing. It's like, why would you never? I'm like, even sales manager. I know, like, why not? In my head, I have my own ideas. But why were you never in a position of power at Yarona FM after putting them in our hearts as far as listeners, myself included? Almost like we're doing your intros.
yeah.
You
did it as well.
I did it as well.
Yeah.
Donna still thinks we can do intros now. I'm 40. So a lot of that, you made people, Bumka Baba Josie, all of these people by Longor became social commentators because because of they were listening to you. You have a list of those people. How is your impact less than all these other people who ended up in positions of power? Because it looked like they wanted to do ascensions of people within the establishment. Why were you never elevated?
I can't answer the question because I don't know, Scar.
You were there.
But I don't know. I don't know who makes the
What do you
decisions and
think
why.
it was?
I actually don't know.
Hypothetically.
Right. So, I don't know,
Come on, dude. You kids are going to watch this thing. To be like, why did my mom leave radio when she was the best at it?
Because I left radio. I guess I had, you know what? You're right? I was going to say to her, I reached my ceiling. But it is that proverbial glass ceiling, right? That probably maintains where women are concerned and not so much where guys are concerned, right? I was trying to tell you a story about how I was actually invited for an interview for station manager. Yarona FM. Recently, right? Then Owen got the gig. I didn't make it. I actually don't know why I didn't make it. But in my mind, and maybe that is a warped way of thinking or a good way of thinking of things, right? Every time there is an opportunity, Scar, right? It's not written your name on it. I get unless if your name is written on it. So when you go for a job interview, a name written on it not by people. Do you understand? If you're not destined for something, then you won't get it, right? So when you go for a job interview, chances are there's going to be 3 of you. Let's in, right? So you're not getting into it thinking because the interview or because I've done X and Y and Z. There's always a better man at that moment. So the better man took it, and that's my approach generally. You try many different things, and some you get, some you don't get. But when you don't get it, it's never because somebody else is playing foul around that.
That's your mindset.
That is my mindset, actually. If I could tell you the number of things. I mean, there was a time when I was not in formal employment for 5 years. And I'd try out things, expect certain things, and then I just kind of, and then be promised certain things that never came to be. But if I were to have in my mind that, oh my goodness, everybody is going against me, then I'd first and foremost, I wouldn't be looking at what is actually in front of me that is happening and working and serving me. Then I'd be paying too much attention on things that I actually just cannot explain. Do you know what I mean?
I feel you.
Yeah, because I don't know, and that's what I'm saying to you. I don't know.
You fought that fight with me for a long time. It's like, stop paying attention to this.
This is it.
Pay attention to what's good.
This is it.
Yeah.
Because there's things in front of you, there's things that are not happening. Yes, are not happening, but what control do you have over them?
Slick. PR practitioner. I want to get into your name, women in radio. You know, radio executives in radio are never usually women who went through the ropes, but for men, it's always easier to hire people who've been on air.
Yeah.
What is that about?
I mean, it bugs me.
They'll go hire like an accountant.
Yeah.
And then the women who went through all of this, even is it a matter of the women who went through radio?
No, that's it. No, I don't even think you know, and it's a pain point, I have to admit, because it's why do we have to fight extra hard, you know, for that recognition?
Yeah.
Right. And I know you've gone and asked the same question differently, but yeah, the truth of the matter is, yes, it happens. It happens, and it's a pain point. But once again, I honestly cannot answer why they do it in that way.
All right, so this is something that's also a passion for you. When you decided to walk away from radio, did you picture a point where you'd come back? Because, you know, on BTV, did you ever? How? I don't watch it. I be seeing like some clips, man. You're my person, so, you know, people will tag me. But like, I don't watch it as much as, you know, back in the day. But like, you're back to broadcasting. When you first left Yarona FM, did you think that you would ever come back into broadcasting? Did you go searching for other jobs? Did Gabz FM come knocking at your door? Or when you said, F it, it was over and you went into corporate?
No, it definitely wasn't over. You know, once you've been bitten by the broadcasting bug, it's in you.
Yeah.
You know, you'll always kind of go back to it. So yeah, I've had conversations with other radio stations, etc. But you know, for me, it always been there must be a level of progression. And however it is that you may want to see that progression, right? It could be, what do I do? So I move from one breakfast show to another breakfast show, and then I look at the radio station. I'm like, okay, in terms of comparison, just how far advanced is this particular radio station, you know? Or that happened in all honesty. By the time I go Yarona FM, the limpiza magriza. Honestly,
I would never.
No, I would never. You did it behind my. Those kids do that. You didn't behind my back.
They were me.
No, not just the kids, but everybody else. You know,
but you know those kids.
I had outgrown
the station.
But
that's what they used to say. When you turn 30, this is the craziest shit. When you turn 30, then you know you should know it's over.
Yeah,
got 40-year-olds over there right now.
So,
oh my God, you just continue to duck me, man.
So I think I'd outgrown the airwaves. I would have wanted.
No, stop.
No, I'd outgrown Yarona FM, but I would have wanted to go to other radio stations. Just that I just didn't at that time. It didn't feel like there was another home to go to. Right? Years later, what?
I really want to talk about this thing because, like, I'm remembering this. Shout out to Patty. I'm serious. You want some?
Maybe it's water we need.
No, we need some water. I remember.
Yeah.
And I'm serious right now, though. When that rule, the 30 years came up, it just hit me right now. It was usually used against you.
Hey.
Why? Okay.
What do you mean it was used against me?
No, we were and
even over.
And even over. Why do you think it was so important? Like, a lot
but
of women.
It's a youth broadcaster. You know, there's a thing that happened to me at Yarona FM, which I think about. I felt pregnant, and the station didn't actually know what to do with me. My first pregnancy. Literally, I think I was probably the first on-air presenter to fall pregnant, right? And it's like, okay, like what do we then do with this?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's no maternity leave. And okay, if the statutory maternity leave is 84 days, can we give her 84 days? But we can't really. It was like a whole discussion, you know, which I found interesting because then eventually I think okay, 6 weeks see, and then it's not like you're full-time type of thing, but it made them kind of think around how it is that they would kind of treat situations like this. Because the fact of the matter is there'll always be women in organizations, and there has to be something in place that kind of accommodates things like this when they happen.
Why were you able to win awards and I wasn't, and we're on the same show? You've received some MISA awards. I don't know if we're on the same show when you won your awards. And I've never had a MISA award. I've never had a broadcasting award.
What in the world was this question?
You've received 2 MISA awards. One for Radio Production of the Year in 2008 and the other for Radio Presenter of the Year in 2007. How did you feel to be recognized and awarded for your craft?
Okay, so you were asking the question how I won awards and you didn't win awards because we're not on the same show. Like, I'll change our photo.
No, that's what I just realized.
No, you were not.
But what did they mean to you and what did they do for you?
It was all part of a plan. Yeah.
Chiliza won that same year also?
Chiliza probably won a year before. Yeah, with David E. Yeah. You know, for me, it was back to the rungs of the ladder. Yeah. It was solidifying, you know, validating. Yeah. You know, a lot of the people in the media would speak about how they wouldn't apply for no, it's not an application. I don't know what to call it. Yeah. But you're not nominated per se.
Participate.
You need to participate and fill in do a submission, you know, for the MISA award. So I was quite deliberate at that point to say I am going to put in my work for it to be adjudicated upon. Yeah. If I make it, then I would have made it up.
This is why your favorites don't win BOMUs. They don't participate.
And you have to
present your work. They can't get everyone's work.
Absolutely. So you have to put it in so that it can be judged, right? So at that point, it was me now building on this career, you know. So I believe so much in immersion that once you get into something, you know, once you got the confidence, like, okay, I'm in this thing, then put your all into it, you know. Do everything that you need to do to advance yourself when you're in that moment. So I deliberately pursued this. I think what had happened was maybe the year before, some of my colleagues had gotten into MISA or won MISA awards, and I'm like, you know what I mean? This is what I'm going to do, because then I can always then come out to say I'm an award-winning radio presenter. Yeah. So I did it as a radio presenter, and the following year I put in the mid-morning affair. Yeah. So it was, in fact, on both occasions,
it was the mid-morning affair.
It was for the mid-morning affair.
We never put in anything as Real Enchilada. But one of the things that I respect...
But why didn't we? Because you wouldn't let me.
No, we just meant sitting in the studio. It was like,
you know what? You know
if they like us, they'll vote for us.
No, but you see, that's just not the approach.
But that's not the approach, and this is what I'm saying.
No, on CNN, SADC, you know, awards that they you have to submit your work, and what it means is that you look through all the work and say, this. In the same way that we would look for what were those moments called? You know, where within the show, you must look for the moments that were
live recent.
The live recents, right? Yeah. Where we would then pick out like big moments and then they'd be played back in the show, right? Yeah. So that's exactly what you do for the awards.
Don't you wish you had been a programs manager though?
Funny, I asked Tumie the other day.
Well, funny.
I asked Tumie the other day, I'm the program manager. Sips Paddy.
Nice. What's up, Bonnie?
Gosh.
Yeah,
I didn't, but this is the problem. The thing with you and I is that I would say these and then you pick up and then you'd go...
Yes.
Well, maybe not on a tangent per se, but you say the thing I'm thinking. Anyway,
That's Helen. We gotta wrap this up. You gotta go home and eat. And
It's been 5 hours by the way of this talking, right?
You were telling me about. All right, so let's okay, because we're here already. Let's talk a little bit about Chiliza. You and Chiliza, working with you and him, there was always arguments. Do you like him now?
Yeah, Ska.
Mr. Tumie Sorakhari. I think he popped up in the screen there.
Ska.
These people, Jesus.
But you know what's funny though? The two of you, because when I was pregnant with Lorato, that's when I was working with you guys.
Yeah.
And you guys, I think I don't want to video Lorato. Like, yeah, Chabangu or whatever. You know, you guys got into that whole thing, a type of thing.
Are you calling him Chabangu right now?
No, I don't actually call him. I don't even think he knows. I don't think he knows that.
Oh my God.
You know. But speaking of which, you know that Lekese, the Lechai, because you know what I mean, the Lechai name.
My cousin Lechai, I went and gave to me his name.
You know?
Oh my word, mommy. So does she use it? Because I'm always seeing her.
It's her.
You know, screenshot some stuff.
No, her names, their names are Kese Lechai Ramsden.
Oh my word.
Lorato Katlo Ramsden.
Yeah.
Kaine Lucika Ramsden. So all of them are initialed KL.
Wow.
KLR or LKR, whichever way you want to look at it. Chiliza. Chiliza nan when he's
because like the arguments were relentless, and I think I don't know if it was because he always I always felt like everyone was against it. And when you wouldn't let him breathe also, because Luena knows about you know, when he was nonsensical. How would you describe your relationship with him when you were working with him, and how would you explain your relationship now? Because
maybe I'm I don't know, Scar, but you know, only now that you mention it do I remember.
Yeah, it was volatile.
Our relationship, you know. Yeah, but I guess you were there to see it.
I love both of you.
He'd come and say, I think it's after he graduated. Or never graduating. Hey, chilly boy. You know?
God.
Yeah. But we were, I didn't think it was
It wasn't sinister.
That deep. It wasn't sinister.
Yeah. It was just competitive.
Deep. Yeah.
But you know what I think it was?
He was competing with me. I wasn't competing with Chili Boy.
No, but you know what it is? It's because of like where he came from. And you know, like some people don't, I don't know if he's even going to like this story. This is our pod, guys. I'm telling stories that get me in trouble. It's niggas who don't even talk to me right now because I be telling that shit. You know what I mean? One day, like, you know, me and, I don't know if it was Nicholas or two Somerset and shit.
Either one of the two.
One of us, we needed some free lunch from our graduate. This nigga took us to like some and introduced that lady as his mom.
Oh wow, that's nice.
That fucked me up.
Yeah.
And then you realize you're like, damn, this nigga is not being arrogant. This nigga really believes what he believes. And when I see him do all of this stuff, I always remember, it's like, this nigga was always about it. But and he always believed he could be better, you know?
You know, earlier on you're asking about the whole primaries, I think, private school versus government school. And I actually wanted to say to you that a lot of the time, that thing comes from the, dare I say, inferiority complex from the part of those that are at government school, or them thinking the other ones are better.
They don't have.
They don't have, you know, and then they just want to paint them as if there's something wrong, and yet they are not doing anything to. But
that's why people become aggressive, and that's why I think people thought people like Chiliza were aggressive, because you're looking at a bunch of fat cats. And that's how he came up to me too.
But that's your problem.
And it was like, when I'm on, you guys are soft, you know. It's like, and that's how some people then come at, and this is like the dynamic in Botswana. A lot of people come at people as if, I want you have everything, because you talk a certain way, because you drive a certain car, and then it's you against us. But I think because now he's older, and I use him as an example bluntly because we are both from Mogodisane, and I know, what he came from to become who he is, and I understand why and because, like I'm saying, he had an idea about you. I don't know if he had an idea about him.
Exactly. And this is the point that I wanted to actually make. Yeah. When I went back to the primary school issue that you spoke about, that I think that I'm not saying he had an inferiority complex.
No, we all do.
I don't have an inferiority. Anyway, but I think he definitely had an idea about me. So nothing. In fact, you also had an idea about me. Clearly, you said it. So all of you guys had an idea about me.
No. We couldn't tweet it.
I think he had an idea about me, and yes, sometimes it would get a little bit crazy, but I just thought we're working together and
trying to make money.
I try to make money, yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, now I have massive respect for him.
Yeah.
In fact, more than anything, for me, it's Guru, when he transitioned into politics right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
We saw that. Yeah. We saw that happen. Yeah. Right?
Scared the shit out of me.
And if
only people knew. This nigga will call one guy, call another guy, and say, this nigga said this about you. This nigga said this about you.
So he brought
and
in
he puts them on air.
So he brought in a different element of radio, which was great. And then maybe the idea he had about me, and maybe one day you must, I don't know.
No, we're going to have him on the show.
The idea he had about me was that, I don't know, maybe I was too prim and proper because I was always amazed by his style of radio. But it was fantastic, right?
Yeah.
It worked. Him and his squeaky voice at the time, right?
Yeah. We need to now move on.
Right. But in all fairness, we saw that transition, all of us.
Yeah.
And the big lesson here is that you can grow, become, and be a whole minister.
Yeah.
Right? DJ.
Yeah.
President, the type of thing,
Yeah.
So he's shown us that it's definitely possible, and for that I give him proper kudos, right?
Definitely.
Chile of the past, he only just went through the rungs of the ladder to become the guy that he is right now, and we can just give him massive respect for it.
I can imagine
Scar,
him
when we
drinking
started
tea. God, I can imagine him drinking tea like this now, like the level of sophistication. What? My God. You were saying you can only imagine. We're about to wrap this up. Guys, how much time do we have left here?
Also, Scar, in the beginning I said that I wanted to sit in a position where my tummy wouldn't show because I've had 3 children, and each time I think about it, I'm like, okay, let me shift. Am I in position?
No, you look good.
Whatever.
You look amazing.
Whatever. You didn't even start like that.
I'm going to end this show about your aspirations because, like, we all know the stuff that you've been up to as far as your PR communications. You also have your own business as well. You sat on a couple of boards as well. We had Re Tapululipe here the other day. What is your experience with sitting on boards in BW?
Well,
see how I did that?
Yeah, I know. And see how I kind of changed my posture and everything. It's... Let me give you one example of a board I sat on, right? But it was when I was much younger. I sat on the MISA board before last year and the year before.
The Institute of Southern Africa.
I sat on the MISA board while I was...
You've been on BNYC, you've been on Red Cross, you've been on Lifeline. Just to name a few.
Yeah, exactly. And throughout all of that, it was when I was actually young and becoming, right? But I felt that the experience just gave me like a different understanding of the whole process. So this is go to where now you see things from a governance perspective. You see things from an oversight perspective, and I wanted to kind of cite an example with MISA at the time. And I mean, in that boardroom at the time, and I think I served 2 terms at MISA.
No doubt.
I was in the industry, and so I had an appreciation of what we needed to do to advance the industry,
Definitely.
right? And I was amongst, people who I thought they were hard hitters,
Yeah.
you know.
The Spencers of this world.
Spencer wasn't on our board, but Laonas Khaito was on the board.
Yeah. Oh, rest in peace. Big
Oh, rest
holder.
in peace. I mean, that guy, you know, Borre Maphanyane, Tiamorantao. We were all so young at the time, you know.
Yeah.
But it's that just be able to learn so much at a young age. I think it really helped in my trajectory moving forward, you know, got like the different levels of an industry, you know.
Definitely.
One of the things that Rasa Khaitu kind of said to me, you know, while he was still alive, and at that point was, you know, just keep pursuing your dreams. I'm a study addict, right? And it's because it came from him. He said, you can never keep growing. You can never keep, you know, edifying yourself and adding the value, evolving.
Yeah.
And I've taken what is that I took heed to in
I
a
miss
big
that
way.
dude, man.
Yeah.
It would be nice to see him, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially now, being
Yeah.
older
Yeah.
and having an appreciation of what he saw from where he was standing. Is he the reason you got to meet Barack Obama? Yeah, I'm not talking about no Barack in phase 2.
But you were there. Why didn't you tell
I
the story?
wasn't in Washington. You were there with Barack. How did you get to meet Barack Obama? And why did he ask you to speak when you were there with a bunch of Africans?
Right. Ke ha ele gore nako ya teng. You know
You
when
can Google it. It's on YouTube. I'm serious.
Yeah.
They actually
But
pointed at him.
But you were there, and
I
there
wasn't. Wait.
No, you were a part of my life. Were you not?
I was. I just didn't get on the trip to Washington.
That trip, hey, if I can tell you the story. I've been invited by the U.S. Embassy to go. There's like a whole program that they're starting out. It's new. And can I have time off?
Is that how Yali started?
That's how Yali started. Uyapo and I started Yali.
Daddy.
Yeah. So we were like the pilot project for Yali.
Everyone is out here yallying though.
Yeah, no, we were, it was
And
the
it's
two
a
of
big
us.
deal. Pick
Yeah.
up Yali, man. Hey.
Yeah, and another thing that I actually would encourage everybody to pick up is the Young Leadership Development Program at the embassy. So they've got like different, you can go in there with under different themes.
Yeah.
It could be under journalism, it could be under leadership, it could be under civic engagement. It's there. It's been in existence for years. So when they made the selection for now this new program that Barack Obama was starting, I think they picked from.
Oh, it was the Mandela. Was it the Mandela?
It wasn't. Mandela came
was the
after.
Young-
It was Young
Yeah.
African Leadership Initiative.
Yeah.
So it was one of President Barack Obama's projects, and it was starting. And Ambassador Michelle Gavin at the time was spearheading it. They were trialing this thing. So we were there for 3 days or 4 days.
Guys go for months
when
now.
guys now go for and I keep talking about this with Salim, you know. Well, at a point we were talking
He's going
about
to be doing our
you know, and
sublimation.
Salim and I and definitely Lebo. You know, we talk about
Marapula.
Diswai. Yeah.
Aim.
Yeah. So we
Damn.
and Mrs. now, thanks. And so we would talk
Who's
about
going to watch this? Listen, we're slaughtering it all out.
yeah,
We're sorry,
you
Mama.
know, and it is with her that like there's a lot of dreams that I have, right? And then we would talk about how we would want to see something like this happening, you know. So here's a whole president who's got this idea, and they started out, and then it just grows in leaps and bounds. Now, 10 years later, how many Yali or Mandela Washington fellows are there? You know, so it's just amazing to see something like that happen. We would like to see the same happening, you know, on our shores.
Definitely.
Yeah.
With your superpowers, as far as communication is concerned, how does it work for you? Like being on radio and ultimately becoming a PR supervisor, like communications. how does this connect? Does everyone who's on radio communicating or being an MC song, can they become a? How does this work? Like, how do you make the difference between, what you do now and what you used to do before?
But why did Millie ask this question?
I think she wants to do it. Because it goes, when did you discover your superpower in PR communications, and what does PR communications entail for those that might not have a clear picture?
Yeah, it's all evolving, Scar, right? And maybe it takes one not to look at what they do necessarily as a superpower, but more as a super service.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in this industry, you are servicing,
Yeah.
right? Why are you doing this podcast?
Are you asking me?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
okay.
The reason why everybody's gathered here today to this podcast because
Yeah.
you want to inform, entertain,
Yeah.
educate,
Yeah.
whatever. There's
All
just
day.
those core objectives.
Yeah.
And if you look at them, inform, educate, and entertain,
Yes.
it's really about giving the next person something,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's the same also with just general communications, strategic communications, or PR, or I guess PR, public
Yeah.
relations.
Yeah.
It's about how you relate with people, how your brand relates with people, how for people to have an appreciation, respect, that connection, right?
Because you're dealing
They
with
must-
entities, though.
Absolutely, but you're dealing with entities that at the end of it all, what do? They provide a service,
Yeah.
right? And so the heart of what it is that we do is really about creating the connections for people to have a connection with your organization, with your brand, with the individuals in there,
Yeah.
So as you get into this field, it's very selfless, or should be. It's not about the fact that, I'm Tumie Ramsden and I work at X at Y place and this is what we do at X. It's not about me. It's about the experience, the brand experience that the people that interact with your organization actually get. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
So it's not about me being a superpower or whatever. It's about providing a super service.
Definitely. Yo, I don't know how much time we got left there, guys.
I don't think we have any time.
You don't have, huh? I want to get into, because you're wearing green, because,
What? Well,
politics. Are you party affiliated? I got to ask you, my nigga. I'm sorry. Renevieve, she's gone to sleep. Are you, yo, don't deflect. Are you party affiliated? Yes or no? Oh, God.
is my makeup
She's
still all right?
No, you look good.
No, you would
look
say
amazing.
that. No, whatever.
No.
Okay.
No, she stepped out.
She's
What's I
gone.
do right now?
So nobody's gonna make sure that I'm
You do, like Zoom, Papa.
sharp.
You look amazing.
So anyway, so
This is me wrapping it up. Are you politically affiliated or not? Or are you fucks with this stuff or not? This thing probably won't even make the edit.
and I'm a child. But yes, I am, Scar.
Are you allowed to say stuff like that? Well, and am I allowed to ask questions like that? Because sometimes I have to be invasive.
And I don't think it's invasive at all. I mean, the Constitution allows people to be affiliated, right? It just you
What if you work in-
you have the right to choose, right? Political affiliation, and I am affiliated.
You willing to tell us, or oh God, so hard to ask her questions.
No, why
like
don't you?
that.
No, let me ask you the question. Remember when I don't know who had left? There was a breakfast team.
Yeah.
Ene it's Amel.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I do.
Tara, what he did?
No, anything. Something, anything.
Very village go fego.
Ra go phamela spatch.
And I mean, at that point, I just thought, it's been years since I left Yarona FM, and then they want to kind of just, it's okay, it's too much. My goodness.
Sorry. Yes, they were trying
It's
to
too
pamela the
much.
spatch. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes, they used us as bait.
and I made it very clear of my affiliation, right? And I mean, at that point, I was sitting in a communications committee of the Botswana Democratic Party, right? And that conversation ended right then. Then guys, which is also what I understand, right? Well, 132 Skies doing the breakfast show with Zizi. It's alright, right? That's just how it goes. But it's okay. I think there's wisdom in not associating media and politics, right?
Yeah.
Because in fact, media is supposed to be impartial. So
Apparently.
yeah. So at that point.
Depends on how much the advertiser pays.
Nah. So at that point, I think it made absolute sense.
Yeah.
So yes, to answer your question, I am affiliated.
So, like, okay, cool, sorry. But to ask also, are you allowed to be, like, you do work for, is it a private company or because it's affiliated with, the Diamond has? Are you allowed to be politically affiliated? There you go.
I am not in active politics.
Oh, okay. It's just affiliation.
I'm not active politically.
Okay.
Right.
I never know
I
how that
wasn't
works.
active politically when I was on BTV. No, it was.
I never really understand it properly because let's say you're a public servant and then they find out, or maybe you're affiliated to, I don't know how this works. What would you suggest to someone? Keep it a secret? Can I in this day and age?
You know what I think what's important
Because you
to
know what
look-
the joke is. Like,
Yeah.
hey, or no, okay, when you're at a traffic stop or something, or you're bringing a tender, you got to pull out like a BDP card. It's a joke. It's an ongoing joke. It's a joke.
Who's laughing?
Niggas. But it's an ongoing joke. So, is that how things work in this country?
I hope not.
Yeah.
I hope not, Scar, because then I think it really would be a disservice to. I told you I've got 3 children, right? To a future for children if we're not going to base decisions either on whether you are hiring or getting a service on merit and it's on affiliation. I don't think any one of us would want that to be
the thing.
Yeah. So that joke ain't funny. See, I told you that could be funny.
No way. Why? No. Light work. We're gonna shut it down, guys. I really don't want to go down this. This has been really dope. I got to be drunk on the show and not feel bad about it. I'm
just worried about my makeup. You know what happens when a lady has been drinking?
What happens?
Then the makeup just kind of, you just kind of transform. Right? And then by the end of the night, because you're just sagging, right? I mean, I've had a couple of sips. I really have not been drinking alcohol, quite honestly, No,
I'm on like a scone. How come
you're not talking about the fact that I am
Roman Catholic? Oh, okay. What are we doing about the land with Ramoswa?
I didn't say get political with
No,
me.
I'm just saying. I get it. Okay. So Roman Catholic, I know because you grew up down the street from it. Is it because of the handsome pastor? Kind of guys are going nuts over that house. That guy. Who is that guy? Who's that nigga?
Okay, father. I say that guy.
Yeah, a lot of women are going nuts over him. He's all over my timeline. You've seen him. They're really handsome, homie. Like he'll be walking up in the funeral like this. That yellow bone shit, where nigga just. Are you pouting, nigga? Looking good, father.
Are you a little bit jealous?
No, I want to say Joe. When we went to St. Joe, for
Yeah.
you to become a pastor,
Yeah.
you had to do the classes for 2 years.
Yeah.
Pastor Okofang, my nigga, he's handling his business. I don't want to tell people
They're not
where
called
he is.
pastors. Ke father kofang.
Yeah, because they can't have sex.
Scam.
It's
Actually,
called a chastity belt.
It is no chastity vow, not chastity belt.
It's a belt.
In fact, I regret actually having brought this up.
Akofang, you know I love you, my nigga. And when I
Father
went and performed
Akofang.
at his church, Gabz was sister down. God damn. Sorry, baby. I still looked at Akofang like, are you serious? Are you
Actually,
serious?
cut.
Love you, mommy, still.
Cut.
No.
No. I refuse for this to be part of this. I'm your older sister.
No, we're done,
I'm your
guys.
older sister. Can I do a shout out?
Please give a shout out.
I was talking to a friend of mine on my way here, Dudu, and I said to her, "What Dudu? I don't know what they're gonna ask me." And my heart was in my.
I saw you outside there getting
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah. And she says,
No, I
just
will
go and
never put
be-
you on blast. I'm like for real. I'm looking at all of these things, and I remember when you were studying.
I am studying still.
Still studying, and I'm seeing all of these things.
What's that? What are you looking at?
From
Ulebeletseng?
Masters in Science, yeah, strategic management.
I've got a master's of science. I'm a master of science and strategic management. I'm currently studying for another master's in media and communications.
What are we fighting for?
I'm not
Is it the things they
fighting.
never wanted us to have?
I'm
doing?
not fighting. You know, I think one of my ambitions, honestly and truly, is to combine the industry experience
Yeah.
with the theoretical academic
Yeah.
experience, and one day just share. I mean, what do you do when you do this? Aren't you sharing?
Yeah.
Isn't this what platforms like this do?
Yeah.
They allow you to inform, educate, entertain, right?
yeah.
So I feel like the next step
Yeah.
of my life
Yeah.
is to impart the knowledge,
Yeah.
but ever so richly so,
Yeah.
right? So I didn't ever get a qualification in media and comms, and yet my career over the past 20 years has been around media and comms. So I made a point that I wanted to study. And at that point, University of Botswana had introduced Master of Arts in Media and Comms.
Yeah.
We were supposed to have graduated last year.
I know.
Little Loretta type of
Yeah.
thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that wasn't to me, because then I started work at the BS. So then I just needed to find how I juggle that. But what I would want to do moving forward is just to be able to stand in front of people with the authority and backing of education to speak of my experience on all the different media platforms that I've been. Yeah. So I guess so like you know, it's not just theoretical, and even when I write these when I publish, okay, no, when you publish it's different because you're doing like proper research.
No, we need more journals. We can't have a master's without journals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, so that's my next thing.
Yeah.
God willing. I said to you earlier that when I was younger, you asked about my confidence. I couldn't explain it because at the end of it all, scar, right?
Yeah.
It's never about us as we are in the motto.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, it's because He made us as we are.
Thank you so much, Tums.
Thanks,
Absolutely love you,
Kazizo.
Mommy Store.
Yeah.
Guys, listen, I'm talking smooth now because the patty be smooth. You know, we'll see you guys next week. It's been absolutely incredible hanging out with you, Tumie. And we wish you all the best for what you're about to embark on. We hope you are able to connect all of those dots so that you can make a better picture for a lot of the young people who watch our show. Usually, what this show does for them is just give them an idea of what is
only young
possible
people?
out there.
Even after Stiro, it's only young people.
No, it's young people and older people. Older people are lost too. But like I'm saying, what you guys are able to do here, what you just did here also, gives people an idea of what they can avoid and how to prepare. So it always means a lot when anyone comes here and gives their best and just becomes truthful about what they experienced.
Yeah.
That's why we have you here.
Thank you so much.
And I really, really appreciate that, Mamisto.
I didn't shout out my husband.
Oh, it's Yarona. So pissing. Malik go pick up on its own road. Or I'll go check it. Sure, Mamisto. Peace out, guys. We absolutely love you. Peace.
People of different identities. PODI-CAST with PODI-CAST.